Travel along, Catholic pilgrims, for 1 year as we read through St. Faustina's diary. Join me, Amy Thomas, each day for a short reading out of the diary which brought us a deeper understanding of Christ's divine mercy. Hello, Catholic pilgrims, and welcome to day 305 of our readings from St. Faustina's diary. Man, the devil is going to show up in a big way today, and he is going to say lots and lots of things in order to try to tempt Sister Faustina away from her mission of spreading the message of Christ's divine mercy. So we are going to go over the different ways that he tries to tempt her and the different things that he says, because he doesn't just say these types of things to Sister Faustina. He says similar things pretty much to all of us, especially those who are striving for holiness. Satan doesn't really have to worry about, people who are deeply sunk in sin. He worries most about those who are trying to gain holiness and trying to help other sinners to gain holiness. So that will be our topic for today in Notebook 5. Numbers 1496 through 1501. January 17th, 1938. Today, since early in the morning, my soul has been in darkness. I cannot ascend to Jesus, and I feel as though I have been forsaken by him. I will not turn to creatures for light, because I know that they will not enlighten me if Jesus wills to keep me in darkness. I submit myself to his holy will and suffer. Still, the struggle is becoming more and more desperate. During Vespers, I wanted to unite myself with the sisters through prayer. When I went in my thoughts to the chapel, my spirit was plunged into even greater darkness. Total discouragement came over me. Then I heard Satan's voice. See how contradictory everything is that Jesus gives to you? He tells you to found a convent, and then he gives you sickness. He tells you to set about establishing his feast of mercy, while the whole world does not at all want such a feast. Why do you pray for this feast? It is so inopportune. My soul remained silent, and by an act of will continued to pray without entering into conversation with the spirit of darkness. Nevertheless, such an extraordinary disgust with life came over me that I had to make a great act of the will to consent to go on living. And again I heard the tempter's words. Ask for death for yourself tomorrow after Holy Communion. God will hear you, for he has heard you so many times before and has given you that which you asked of him. I remained silent, and by an act of will, I began to pray, or rather submitted myself to God, asking him entirely not to abandon me at this moment. It was already 11 o'clock at night, and there was silence all around. The sisters were all asleep in their cells, and my soul alone was struggling with great exertion. The tempter went on. Why should you bother about other souls? You ought to be praying only for yourself. As for sinners, they will be converted without your prayers. I see that you are suffering very much at this moment. I'm going to give you a piece of advice on which your happiness will depend. Never speak about God's mercy, and in particular, do not encourage sinners to trust in God's mercy, because they deserve just punishment. Another very important thing. Do not tell your confessors, and especially this extraordinary confessor and the priest in Vilnius, about what goes on in your soul. I know them. I know who they are, and so I want to put you on your guard against them. You see, to live as a good nun, it is sufficient to live like all the others. Why expose yourself to so many difficulties? I remained silent, and by an act of will I dwelt in God, although a moan escaped from my heart. Finally, the tempter went away, and I, exhausted, fell asleep immediately. In the morning, right after receiving Holy Communion, I went immediately to my cell, and falling on my knees, I renewed my act of submission in all things to the will of God. Jesus, I ask you, give me the strength for battle. Let it be done to me according to your most holy will. My soul is enamored by your most holy will. At that moment, I saw Jesus, who said, I am pleased with what you are doing, and you can continue to be at peace if you always do the best you can in respect to the work of mercy. Be absolutely as frank as possible with your confessor. Satan gained nothing by tempting you because you did not enter into conversation with him. Continue to act in this way. You gave me great glory today by fighting so faithfully. Let it be confirmed and engraved on your heart that I am always with you, even if you don't feel my presence at the time of battle. Today, the love of God is transporting me into the other world. I am all immersed in love. I love and feel that I am loved, and with full consciousness, I experience this. My soul is drowning in the Lord, realizing the great majesty of God and its own littleness. But through this knowledge, my happiness increases. This awareness is so vivid in the soul, so powerful, and at the same time, so sweet. Now that I have difficulty sleeping at night because my suffering won't allow it, I visit all the churches and chapels, and if only for a brief moment, I make an act of adoration before the Blessed Sacrament. When I return to my chapel, I then pray for certain priests who proclaim and glorify the divine mercy. I also pray for the intentions of the Holy Father and to obtain mercy for sinners. Such are my nights. Now you can see that Satan really tries today. He must be very desperate. And so I'd just like to walk through a little bit of what Satan says, because like I said in the beginning, this isn't just, things that he says to Sister Faustina. He says similar type things to all of us when we are trying to grow in holiness. So let's look here at the very first thing that he says to her. She says, "Then I heard Satan's voice. See how contradictory everything is that Jesus gives to you? He tells you to found a convent, and then he gives you sickness. He tells you to set up establishing this feast of mercy, while the whole world does not at all want such a feast." And so we see here that Satan is really trying to put a lot of doubts into her mind and trying to set up this supposed contradictory with Christ's words. Now, what we know is that through Sister Faustina's suffering, she brings about a lot of graces and merit for the work that she's doing. And Christ is weeding out and rooting out a lot of weakness in her so that she becomes more holy and that this message of divine mercy can get out there. But Satan is trying to make her think that, Christ really isn't on your side. He tells you to do this, but then, he's not really helping you at all. He makes you sick. And so that's one way that he tries to make us doubt Christ. The devil does this with different situations in our life. He sets up these contradictory things or supposed contradictory situations that make us go, oh man, maybe I am doing the wrong thing, because if God really wanted this to be done, it would just be really easy and I wouldn't have all these roadblocks in the way. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should stop, right? Because we think, oh, Christ gives us a mission, then he's just going to make the path, smooth sailing for us. And that's just not the case. I mean, think of the apostles and all the struggles and trials they went through once they knew that their mission was to go and spread the good news. The next thing that Satan says is, ask for death for yourself tomorrow after Holy Communion. God will hear you, for he has heard you so many times. And, I don't know that Satan tempts many of us by saying, ask for death. But what he's trying to do here is get her to just give up. Just ask for death. Just be done with it. You're so unworthy. You're never going to get this off the ground. Just stop. Who are you? Really, who are you? You're this sick nun. What are you going to accomplish? Just ask for death already. Just give it up. You're not doing anything that, glorifies God with your weakness and your sickness. Those are the types of things that Satan often says to us. Who are you? Just give up. I mean, just be done with it already. You're never going to get this to go anywhere. You're never going to amount to anything. So why are you even trying? And this temptation stops a lot of people. A lot of people. Satan may not exactly tell us to ask for death, but just to stop. And the continual reminding us that, oh, you're not worthy to get this going. You're just a small fry person. It can really discourage us and make us want to give up. The next thing he says is, why should you bother about other souls? You ought to be praying only for yourself. Wow, this is one of the greatest temptations. And we get this also from the world. Why are you worrying about everybody else? Why do you even care what people do? Just keep to yourself and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. You be you. Everybody needs to just do their own thing, live their own truth, be their own person. Why are you nosing into people's business? Right? We hear that a lot. That's Satan talking. Because as Christians, if we are to love other people as Christ loves people, we should care. We should really care of the state of people's souls. And it should bother us that there are people out there who may not make it to heaven. Because if Christ wants everybody to be there, we too should want everybody to be there. And yet, Satan's like, just worry about yourself. That's all you need to worry about. And gosh, we get bombarded with this message constantly, don't we? If you try to call somebody out, and tell them that this sin that they're committing is so bad for them, the hounds will come out and descend upon you and tell you to keep to yourself and mind your own business. That's exactly what Satan's doing right here. Why are you even spreading this message? And then he throws in something that is kind of just really a jab. They deserve just punishment. Why? Why would you want mercy for these people? They've done horrible things. They deserve just punishment. We all feel that sometimes, right? When we see somebody who's done something really bad, there's that whisper in our ear that says, they don't get mercy. They shouldn't have any mercy. They get what they deserve. And that's just not how Christ loves. I mean, that isn't to say that Christ isn't a just judge. However, Satan only wants us to focus on that aspect and not the mercy aspect, which is one of the ways that he most tempts us, because he knows if we go to confession and he knows if we go and seek mercy, then our souls are full again of the divine life and we're new again and clean. And he just does not want that at all. So that is all for our readings today, Catholic Pilgrims. However, it is the day that I said I would let you know what is in store for next year. So I was deciding between two books, a book by St. Francis de Sales and a book by Venerable Fulton Sheen. I bought both of the books. I looked through both of the books. I prayed a lot, and I really, really felt called to one in particular. And so next year, we will be reading Fulton Sheen, The Way to Inner Peace. And I'm very excited about it. I felt kind of bad because both of the books are fantastic, and they're not that different in their messages. I just felt Fulton Sheen, he's more modern, and so a lot of people have living memories of him, and I thought that was really good. And I feel like he's speaking so specifically to the times that we are living in, especially in America, though I feel anybody anywhere in the world can gain a lot from what is said in this book. So next year, January 2022, I will be starting a weekly podcast where I will be reading through Venerable Fulton Sheen's book, The Way to Inner Peace. If you want to get that book, I highly recommend it. It's a great book. We'll be reading just one little section at a time, once a week, and it will be reflection time after the readings, and I think it's going to be fantastic. I absolutely love Fulton Sheen, and he was a great teacher. Just a great teacher, and he really speaks to me, and I know he will speak to you as well. So that is all for today, Catholic pilgrims. I will see you back here for day 306. And until then, live the faith boldly and travel well.